The sun rises over Rome, casting long shadows across the dusty streets. Today, we pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful forces shaping ancient Roman life, not emperors or generals, but the women. In a city dominated by patriarchy, Roman women were both invisible and indispensable. They couldn't vote, couldn't hold office, and their legal identities were often tied to their fathers or husbands. But within those confines, they wielded influence in quiet, persistent ways that shaped families, businesses, and even politics from behind the scenes. Let's begin with the typical Roman matronaut, the wife of a citizen. In elite households, she oversaw the domus, managing slaves, ensuring the family's meals were prepared, clothing was made, and the home was orderly. She taught her children, especially her daughters, Roman values, modesty, obedience, and loyalty. Yet she wasn't idle. Many wealthy women were educated, able to read Greek and Latin, and participated in the cultural life of the household, reciting poetry, discussing philosophy, and keeping household accounts. But outside the villas and marble halls, the reality was harsher. Working-class women had no luxury of leisure. They labored beside their husbands in workshops or sold produce and textiles in the crowded markets. Some became wet nurses or midwives, essential roles in Roman society but often stigmatized and underpaid. Others brewed beer or ran taverns. In many cases, widows ran small businesses on their own, seamstresses, perfumers, or food vendors. Then there were the women, whose lives were dictated entirely by survival. Slave women in Rome endured some of the worst conditions imaginable. Many were taken as spoils of war or born into bondage. They cooked, cleaned, cared for children, or worked the fields. Others faced far darker fates, sold into prostitution or forced to serve in bathhouses or brothels. Their suffering was not recorded in marble or celebrated in poetry, but it formed the unspoken foundation of Roman daily life. Yet even here, the story isn't only one of misery. Some slaves earned manumission and later married Roman citizens. A freed woman could open a shop, raise children as citizens, and leave behind inscriptions that told her story. These rare success stories show that while the system was cruel, cracks existed, spaces where a clever or fortunate woman might find freedom. Religion offered another avenue for expression. Roman women took part in festivals like Matronalia, honoring Juno, the goddess of marriage and childbirth. Priestesses of Vesto, virgins, held immense respect and power. Sworn to 30 years of chastity, these women kept Rome's sacred flame alive. If the flame died, the city believed it faced doom. The penalty for a Vestal breaking her vow was death, buried alive in a sealed chamber. These women weren't just symbols, they were Rome's spiritual backbone. Selected as children and living in seclusion, they had unique legal rights and access to the elite. They were the few women in Rome who existed outside the authority of men. Women also influenced politics, albeit indirectly. Behind many powerful men stood a wife or mother who advised, maneuvered, and shaped outcomes from the shadows. Think of Livia Drusilla, wife of Augustus, who was rumored to have played a role in securing her son Tiberius's place as emperor. Whether the rumors were true or not, the perception of her influence spoke volumes. Fashion was another language women used to communicate status and identity. A woman stole the traditional Roman dress, reflected her class. Jewelry, hairstyles, and even perfumes became tools of self-expression and social messaging. Yet laws like the Lex Appia sought to limit women's displays of wealth, revealing how threatening female agency could seem to the male order. And what about love? Romance in Rome was a complicated dance of poetry and property. Marriage was often a political or economic alliance, not a love story. Still, Roman literature reveals glimpses of real affection and heartbreak. In tomb inscriptions, some husbands honored their wives with touching tributes, praising their loyalty, virtue, and companionship. Children were central to a Roman woman's identity. Motherhood was sacred but dangerous. Maternal mortality was high, and many women bore multiple children with little medical support. Despite their limitations, Roman women adapted, endured, and occasionally thrived. They were survivors in a world built to overlook them. In laughter, labor, worship, and mourning, they stitched the fabric of Roman society with quiet resilience. They were the heart of the home, the hands behind the bread, the whispers behind the throne. And though history often forgot their names, Rome could not have stood without them.